So we're going to be starting in a few minutes, and we'll be sharing our ideas and thoughts over multidimensional issues. So over the next few weeks, we'll be covering lots of different topics. But if you've ever wondered things like, what does it mean to be a multidimensional healer? What does 5D consciousness mean? What does New Earth mean? Do you want to know about light language, or even just like, what does ascension mean and how does that affect our evolution? Any changes in our chakra system? So we're going to be covering topics like that. So if any of those words kind of sound interesting to you and you want to learn more, even if they don't mean anything to you so far, we'll keep it quite grounded and explain it as best we can, and you can ask questions. Then join us in a few minutes. So I'm just going to hand over to Alicia while we set up all the links to make sure we're all shared out. Are we all okay? Are we shared everywhere?
Yeah, I just finished sharing, so all good.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll hand you over to Alicia then.
Perfect. So hello, beautiful souls. Just welcome to our Multidimensional Monday. We're so excited to be here as always. And if you're connecting with us for the first time, my name is Alicia with my mom, Eva, from Crystalline Ascension, with our galactic sister, Trudy, from White Star Soul Guidance. And so if you're catching the live on Facebook or here on Zoom with us, please do say hello in the comments or in the chat. I'm not too sure if Trudy already said that. If she did, I apologize. I was trying to get everything set up. And a warm welcome to those who are watching the replay. If you want to hashtag replay so that we can circle back around to you a little later and say hello to you as well. So hello, Marta. Happy to see you as well. So each Monday, go ahead.
And Jenny's arrived, so we've got them now. Yes, cool.
Perfect. So each Monday we'll be here live sharing our multidimensional experiences, our stories, and earthly musings of living as a multidimensional being in a human body and how we're bridging the two together. So today's topic will be about sharings of how important self-care and development is when you are a multidimensional being. And Trudy, just want to let you know, we see your little picture, not your face anymore.
I don't know how I keep doing that.
There you are, you're back.
I'm wondering if it's like a hand sign that I've magically can create that's turning off my camera. I'm not sure. I think it's a loose connection. Okay.
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 Yes. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, so we've got a few people on Zoom with us and a few live, I think. I'm just going to be, as we look down, we're going to be looking at the comments. So if you wonder what we're all doing. Yeah. So the first question that we got asked, actually this question last week, was what was our favorite self-care routines, which, you know, from a multidimensional perspective, we're not going to talk about just how to care for yourself. That's a different conversation. We're going to be more aimed at what it feels like when you're working with energy and you feel the frequencies around you and the planetary upgrades and things. So each of us goes through the questions and we give our answers. So you get 3 different perspectives on the same answers. So you get like 3 times the value for the price of 1. So today's question about self-care, I'll go first. And for me, self-care is about a spiritual practice, a habitual one that's integrated into my life. It's not about how often I meditate or when I meditate. My meditations are kind of like a natural blend into my life. It's just, I could be washing the dishes, I could be driving, I could be out in the garden or taking a walk, whatever happens, then I just, when I get an insight, I work with it. So my first tip is going to be about trying to get to the source of issues. I'm very keen on getting right to the very sort of the very center of an issue to be able to resolve it. My second tip I'm going to share is about automatic writing and how to get stuff out of your head and stop the spin. And my third one is about the importance of the soul tribe. So if I explain the first one first. So I found that whenever I was doing any self-development work, if I just tried to fix whatever was occurring in my life right now, it would only kind of fix it temporarily and it would show up in another way. So my first tip is to always try and go back right to the very start of when that issue was first introduced to you. And if you've had experiences of or memories of being in different timelines, and we will speak about this later, but we mentioned that talking about timelines in past, future, and parallel is kind of difficult when you work in the quantum because time isn't linear. The reason we can access all those timelines is they all happen at the same time. So when we're doing that kind of work, it's finding the source of which part of us or which lifetime we had that experience in so that we can go back and resolve it. And it may be a few different ones, but there's usually one source to start with. And that would be my first tip, is to always in the best way possible. Even if you need guidance to do it, get back to that source point and you'll see bigger results, because then that one source will ripple right through all the other timelines and give you a bigger result for the work that you're doing. So the second one's a bit more practical. So for me, automatic writing is sometimes the only way I can get all of the information that spins around my head when there's something in my life, like an insight or a problem that I've seen in my external world. I'm trying to understand what inside me is, my internal system then is causing that external experience. And you get into this head spin where you start asking yourself like, oh, was it what I said? Did they react to that? Did I not say this properly? Did they understand what I said? And then you go into but then did I remember, should I call them back and tell them this, or should I explain? And these thoughts go round and round and round and create this sort of tornado in your head. And when that happens, the best thing to do is to get to the paper and write it down. And I feel almost like as I'm automatically writing, and automatic writing is where you stop writing your conscious thoughts and it becomes a more of a subconscious or a higher consciousness flow. And when you read back over it, you find some really interesting insights that can also help them with your self-development and integrating whatever energy you're working with at that time. So for me, I think that really is a way to stop the head overheating and to also bring yourself back into your body, because when you're automatic writing, you're actually bringing your body more online and integrating at that level. And the third one is my support tribe. So I did a lot of work on my own, and it's really hard when you get some of these crazy insights to find any meaning. You can't kind of like look them up in a book, or you can Google some of them, but most of them not so easily. So when you've got other people who you can talk to and share your insights with that help you and can add their knowledge and their parts of the puzzle to it, I find that really invaluable. So I really think finding a soul tribe has made a huge difference for my self-care, just for those crazy moments. And luckily I found that in Ava and Alicia. So I've been very, very lucky. But the other advantages of your soul tribe is that if you're looking at a problem from just your perspective, then you only have your experiences to balance it with. But when there's three of you and you all have the same problem, but you have three different manifestations of it, you get all this extra information about how does this fit together? Because if the three of us have one problem, but they're slightly different in how they appear in our lives, it makes it actually easier to get back to the source. So my kind of three leads back into my one. So hopefully there's something there that you guys can use. So trying to get to the source, and that means like looking through all your lifetimes, automatic writing, and then finding your support tribe. So speaking of support tribes, I'm going to hand over to my support tribe, Alicia, for her answer.
Oh, very much. Thank you. So my 3 self-care routines are: number 1, to find that sacred time to tune into self, to really discover what needs to be either released, healed, or embodied so that you can align more with your highest mission and your highest self. Number 2, I would say, would be spend time connecting with your human body, which I didn't always do. So that way, when you do this, you're embodying more of those cosmic frequencies and your higher self into your physical body for that multidimensional expansion. And number 3, listening and diving deeper into those divine syncs that you receive. So I'm just going to expand more about them. So again, first self-care routine is creating sacred time to tune into self, and which I do on a weekly basis, and that's through divination tools, usually of multiple oracle cards, and that's where I receive my own messages as well. And I work with the guidance that I receive throughout the week. So what I do is I keep those cards out as reminders, and then I will create even further space each day to tune back into that guidance. And what we have noticed is through the theme and the topics that I'm working with on a personal level seems so aligned with Trudy and Eva's experience as well. So when we come together each week, we take care of our energy and our multidimensional selves, meaning what's happening here in our physical reality is also happening in the higher dimensions on some level, and therefore affects each other. I'm not too sure anyone feels that way or resonates with that as well on the call. And then going back to my second self-care routine is something that I do each morning. I spend time connecting with my human body, my human body, embodying more of those cosmic frequencies. And what I do here is I first awaken my higher heart, which I call your crystal heart. And I do this through breath work and tapping on my higher heart to that numerical sequence of the crystal spiral. And I also do some chanting of those original tones. Maybe you've familiar with it, maybe you're not, but it's Kara Yasa Ta'ala, which is something that even I share each month within our crystalline portal. And I'm really excited to be sharing this out with more beautiful souls. But then I go even further and I start standing up and calling in those cosmic frequencies into my physical body on all levels of my being. And I bring it down by gently tapping all over my body from head to toe with movements as I guide the frequencies to fill my being, which acts as that vibrational medicine. And it also allows my human body to integrate the frequencies on a deeper level in my physical reality. So, and then after that, I would say I probably start speaking to my superconsciousness mind as I connect to my higher self with my human self. We need to connect them together. And this is where I make those divine commands of what new pictures of reality and experiences that I am desiring in my here and my now. So this again, I do with movement and breath work and a little bit of dream weaving, but this gets me really to start the day fresh, really grounded, really aligned, really connected to those cosmic frequencies in my human body. The third self-care routine, again, was listening and diving deeper into the divine syncs that you receive, which can come in many forms. A lot of pictures, music, quotes you hear, objects you find, messages you receive, your dreams, animals, and so forth. I feel that this is a self-care because there is so much guidance and support all around us. And the more conscious awareness I had of it, the more I received. And the more I dived deep into each of the divine syncs that was coming into my physical reality, by communicating with it and asking questions, the more my mind was blown away each and every time with it, with what it led to. So I too love to record them in my journal as well as I look back on my journey. Hold on. Something popped up there. So I'm usually like, oh yes, they've showed me for 5 years until I actually really receive that message or that guidance. So sometimes they'll keep repetitively showing you and taking you into different directions. And I do find that some divine syncs are confirmation. Some are guiding you further and some are warning you and some are prophetic, but they're all different and unique. But I do feel that by taking that time to pause and listen and go further into those divine syncs has allowed me to open and integrate much more into my multidimensional self. And so the three of us, when we get together again, we dive deep into the divine syncs that are showing up and coming in as it leads us more further into our divine missions that we are on together, as well as more of what planetary and humanity work that we are facilitating. So those are my 3 tips. And yes, hold on, just reading the comment here. Love this concept with the crystal heart. Yes, I do too. One of my favorites. And I'll turn it over to Eva now.
All right. Hello, everybody. So I'm going to start with my 3 tips that I'm going to be sharing is EFT, known as Emotional Freedom Technique, that I do basically almost every day and sometimes several times a day. And it really helps with decreasing the intensity of whatever emotion is coming up for me or for my client. And so that we could think and make choices that are more aligned to us rather than making choices that are from the fear or the anxiety emotions. My second tip is gentle self-care while stepping out of self-control and self-judgment. And thirdly, it seems to be quite similar to what Alicia and Trudy also said, is soul speaking, connecting with your soul for a few moments each and every day. So as I reflect back from when I consciously started to take interest in my life here on this earth planet, I was forced into a situation that maybe one day I will talk about. But for now, my self-care has changed from when I first started this awakened journey to where I am today. So I feel that I'm going to share my 3 self-caring routines so that everyone here on the recording who's just starting their journey may also relate to it. My experience is that one built upon the other. So I still do the foundational self-care, but I have strengthened and added new, more aligned routines to support me to where I am now and to where I desire to be moving forward, if that makes sense to anybody. Although I will speak of 3, there are so many more that I was thinking about, but there is plenty for another day. I know taking bubble baths and journaling are always advised, but that did not work for me, as I can only sit in a bathtub for a short while. And whilst I was journaling, I think I have about 5+ journals going on at one time. So it's not that I'm not consistent. I'm not organized in my journals, right? So my self-care began when I came to being slapped with high states of emotional and mental awakenings. And I had to learn pretty quickly how to handle this out of control negative self-talks and anger issues that came to me suddenly after a specific past experience. So my self-care routine was EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping every day and several times a day. This basically, I felt, saved my life, dealing with exhaustive, self-destructive thoughts and feelings. And many of you may be familiar with EFT. And what it did for me was decrease the intensity of my anger and my inner self-hatred, where I was able to live life on this planet in a more harmonized and balanced way. To this day, it is my quick to go self-care routine, and I share it monthly in our Crystalline Portal members retreat so that it becomes daily, and it grew to be habitual that Alicia and I sprinkled it with our crystalline essence and created crystalline energy medicine, which works tremendously while during our monthly interactions with clients. When one is expanding in consciousness, there are certain aspects and qualities that naturally flow with the growth phase. So for myself, a huge growing point was self-responsibility and awareness. And this did not come with welcoming arms. And it is one that I continue to master. For this, I can share gentle self-care while I was stepping out of self-control and self-judgment. When I felt these heavy thought patterns, I gave myself permission to take time out and really close my eyes and breathe into my heart with 432 hertz meditation music. And I had to teach myself to continuously come back into my physical body and welcome the awareness, welcome self-responsibility. So during, it doesn't matter with what retreat we're on, what session we're on, I usually love to share loving perspectives of being gentle with oneself and allowing the soul client to receive a vision of what awareness of self-responsibility can create for them. You can really see clients' face light up when you just give them little bit-sized pieces that they can integrate and embody, and take with them right away, versus these long activations or something that they're not ready to receive. So I know with Alicia and Trudy that we have been mastering this step by step of giving in ourselves the little pieces as we grow and evolve in our mission to the planetary and humanitarian aspects. So as I have grown in my physical form together with my spiritual consciousness, I am sure I can speak for everyone that self-care routines develop and grow to meet our needs to where we are in the here and now. So my third self-care that I will share with you is soul speaking, connecting with your soul for a few moments every day. Taking the time out to honor myself, I light up incense. I have some essential oils streaming in the air, some soft music, my feet on the floor, and my hands on my heart. And just to connect with my soul and ask, what would you like today, soul? Or how would you like me to serve today, soul? This practice really truly assisted my multi-dimensional muscles when connecting within our weekly trine wave and receiving the divine weaver templates and visions that I'm excited to contribute in our upcoming Stardust Human series starting later this month.
Excellent. Well, that was a lot more than 3 tips there. So they've got extra for that. And it actually means we're coming quite close to the end. So we might not be able to carry the next question. So I think what you can see from the 3 answers we've given is that even though we're talking about self-care as the question, we see self-development as self-care. And it's quite hard for us to separate those 2 things out, because if we want to look after ourselves, then we have to be forever growing in consciousness and forever being aware of the energetic downloads that we're getting and how to integrate them into our bodies, because that to us is what self-care is. And hopefully there are some techniques there that you found interesting, or maybe ones you've never heard of before. So which techniques resonated with you guys, and which ones have you never heard of before? If you want to type them into the comments, that would be interesting to see. And while we're waiting for the live to come up on Facebook, what have we got here? Oh, we got Marta saying, beautiful share about the gentleness and soul speaking from Ava.
Oh, thank you.
It's interesting when you've got 3 different people giving different language to the same things, it resonates with different people differently. That's why I love this kind of 3 people answering the same question.
Yes.
Any other questions at the moment, are you seeing?
No, not that I see.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be much there either. So we had another set of questions, but I don't think we'll have time to go into those in detail now. But if we were going to cover what we've been working on ourselves recently. So maybe we can just kind of go through the headings quickly, because we've only got like 5 or 10 minutes left. So what we've been doing is that, oh, we've got some takeaways coming through. And that's from Marta. My takeaway is that one will have their own ritual to fit their soul needs according to journey. Beautiful. That's a great takeaway. So the kind of things that we've been working on recently are to do with, I don't know if everyone has noticed, but seems to have been a huge acceleration of energy recently. And it's been showing up in our external world in a very, very in your face kind of way. The fact that we've got a cost of living crisis kind of shows that being human on the planet right now is equated to a cost. And that's obviously affecting us all on a very deep level. So we've been spending quite a few weekends together discussing different topics and trying to work out the source of them. So some of these have been, if each of us just give the heading for each of our sections. So I'll talk about beating self up, making the wrong decisions, and then asking for advice, getting the wrong input, but still beating myself up and thinking I should know all the answers. And Alicia had
uncloaking our high elven selves and noticing that we were still hiding that our multi-galactic superpowers in fear of persecution.
And Ava?
And I was speaking on receiving. I think that's where we were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's probably relatable to so many people, right? About getting the courage to ask, to receive. And it's not about the receiving, it comes down to really about the memories of the receiving that we have had encountered in the past, and how we, the stories that we attach to receiving in our present time right now in our experiences.
So I think what is sort of becoming apparent to us, and even in the kind of energies that we've been looking at over the last, just even the last weekend, isn't it, is that there's a that it's kind of like a strong energy nudging you, but equally a more visible energy to allow us to see, to allow us to actually start identifying core wounds, like core light worker wounds. And even if you don't class yourself as a light worker, if you beat yourself up, if you find it difficult to receive, and not because of the receiving, but the fear of what that comes with, or if there's parts of you and memories of your other aspects in your higher self that you have started becoming aware of your gifts and talents that are not of this kind of 3D level, then you probably are a light worker. And if you're finding the ascension symptoms quite intense right now, again, you're probably finding that you're being called to step back onto your path, to be more of your authentic self, to integrate all these parts and to step into your power. And that's the energy that's been coming through. But obviously getting underneath that isn't so simple. These energies are quite complex in multiple ways that they weave themselves through time and dimensions and through all of our different layers down to our physical and our higher self. So we've decided that we would put all of our knowledge that we've been working through together. So I'm going to hand over to Alicia. She's got a description for us.
At the bottom. I'm not too sure where you're thinking about. We do have an upcoming, we're going to put all the knowledge in together into our so excited upcoming Stardust Human Stardust Being Human series into there.
And the reason we started with Stardust is because we came from Stardust and that's how we were created. So if there's going to be any issues, then starting there and working our way through all those timelines is going to be a good place to start. But we're kind of recording all of our experiences, all of the issues that are arising, all the templates and codes that we're receiving, and then packaging them all together into this monthly workshop. And it's going to be over a 12-month period that we'll be sharing those. So watch out for that soon. So do you guys have anything else you'd like to say?
I'm just reading the comments. Marta, amazing topics. Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately not today. That'll be next week. We've got too much to share.
That's right.
Oh, we got a hello, Justina. Oh, Justina, hey, how are you? There's a Justina on the Facebook link. So we're just finishing up. We're about to finish up. So guys, if you've got any questions particularly that you want us to discuss on one of these Mondays, so we're trying to keep it to 30 minutes, it's like short bursts because this stuff's quite intense and detailed, then just message us and follow our pages so that you can share comments there on the video maybe, and we'll circle back around and read them. And the other thing you can do is join our Higher Consciousness Living group, which means then we can talk more there and see what topics you'd like us to discuss. So I'll just hand over to Alicia now to sign off.
Yes, so catch us live every Monday. I'm pretty sure you shared everything, that everything will be the continued conversation in the Higher Consciousness Living. And we'll be back here on Monday live at 3 p.m. EST and 8 p.m. GMT +1 or BST.
Not for long, actually, because we'll be changing. End of October,
okay.
we'll become GMT again. But yeah, at the moment, we're still BST.
All right, sounds good. Until then, much love to everyone. Oh, Sue's coming on onto the live on Facebook. Sorry to have missed the juicy bits about self-care. Blessings to all of you.
Thank you, Sue.
Yes.
Did we say there'll be a replay?
Yes, you had mentioned that. Yes.
Then no, I don't think I mentioned the replay. They'll be on our YouTube channels.
Okay. I thought you did. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. There'll be replays of the videos on YouTube channels, and you'll find them on our pages too. Okay, so guys, I hope you all enjoyed that. We're going to sign off now from Facebook Live, and we're going to just continue with the guys on our Zoom, and see you next week. Bye.